Buddhists, if you were to choose one book for the rest of your life to carry with you wherever you go, what book would you choose? Well, for me, it is this book. This book has literally changed my life in many ways, and whenever I feel down or stressed, I take it out and read 2 or 3 pages, and I find the answer to my problem. If you ask, what is the book? This book is very famous and considered the handbook of Buddhists. Now, if you ask, what is the religious book of Christians? You can clearly say it is the Bible. What is the religious book of Muslims? You can clearly say it is the Quran. What is the religious book of Judaism? You can say it is the Torah. What is the religious book of Hinduism? It is the Bhagavad Gita. Well, if you ask a Buddhist, what is your religious book? They will say, oh, we don't have one book. We have an array of books. There are a lot of religious scriptures in Buddhism. But out of all these religious scriptures in Buddhism, this book is considered the handbook of all Buddhists. This book is none other than the Dhammapada itself. The Dhammapada has literally changed my life in many ways. So, what is the Dhammapada? The Dhammapada is a set of verses preached by the Buddha himself. There are 423 verses in this collection, divided into 26 chapters, each explaining different topics such as happiness, violence, loving-kindness, the wise man, the foolish man, and the Buddha. It contains many verses that explain life as well. I would recommend that whenever you feel down or stressed, if you have the Dhammapada with you, you can take it out and read 2 or 3 pages. I'm pretty sure that you will find the answer to your problem. I have heard from many of my Hindu friends that they use the Bhagavad Gita whenever they feel down or stressed. They take it out, read 2 or 3 pages, and find the answer to their problem. For Buddhists, I would highly recommend the Dhammapada as the handbook for every person. The Dhammapada contains a lot of advice and life lessons, which are wonderful. So, let's take some time to read 2 or 3 verses and see how wonderful they are. In verse 103, the Buddha says, though one may conquer 1,000 times 1,000 men in battle, yet he indeed is the noblest victor who conquers himself. The Buddha says, no matter how much you conquer, no matter how much you battle in the battlefield, the most difficult war is to conquer yourself, to win over yourself. See how wonderful it is. In the next verse, the Buddha says, self-conquest is far better than the conquest of others. Not even a god, an angel, Mara, or Brahma can turn into defeat the victory of such a person who is self-subdued and ever restrained in conduct. The Dhammapada contains such verses which give you inspiration, motivation, and strength to focus on yourself and build up yourself. In verse 166, the Buddha says, let one not neglect one's own welfare for the sake of another, however great. Clearly understand one's own welfare. Let one be intent upon the good. The Buddha says, no matter what happens, first of all, you have to focus on your own welfare. If you protect yourself, only then can you protect others and help them in the correct way. This helps you to be more self-conscious, more self-focused, and to build up yourself. In verse 290, the Buddha says, if by renouncing a lesser happiness one may realize a greater happiness, let the wise man renounce the lesser, having regard for the greater. I find this verse so important and inspiring. For me, especially as a monk, I sometimes feel stressed and down. At times like these, I always think, you are aiming for greater happiness. If you are going to achieve a greater happiness, you must be willing to let go of lesser happiness. Similarly, in everyday life, if someone is working towards a greater goal or happiness, they must let go of the smaller, daily happinesses that keep them away from achieving that greater happiness. The Dhammapada contains such valuable and inspiring life lessons. I invite all of you to get this book, buy it, or find it online and read it. I will link some online resources and PDFs where you can read the Dhammapada. If you're willing to buy the book, I will provide links for that too. When it comes to the Dhammapada, there are many translations, but I highly recommend the translation by Venerable Acharya Buddharakkhita. It's very precise and in high-level English, but it's very clear. There's another translation by my teacher, Venerable Kiro, which is simple and easy to understand. These are the 2 translations I would recommend. So, I invite you all to buy the book, read it online, or find PDFs and read this book. You will find a lot of valuable life lessons. That is all for today. I wish you all health and peace.